Today we're going to look at text formatting in NovaMind for iPad. The text handling in NovaMind is very sophisticated, and there are a number of things that will help you to get the most out of it, so let's get started. You can set the text formatting for a single topic, multiple topics, or just some selected text on a topic. All the text formatting settings can be done through the Text Inspector panel. If you are editing text and select some of the text, you'll see that the normal text menu appears, and in there you can set the font to be bold, italic, or underlined, and NovaMind will incorporate that into your font settings. As you can see, there are also a couple of other settings shown, hyperlink and format. We'll talk about hyperlinks later. If you tap Format, the inspector will open, showing the text formatting options no matter what inspector you were previously using. This is a very handy way to get to the relevant formatting options. When the text inspector panel is shown, it shows you the formatting related to the selected text or selected topics. If you have multiple topics selected, it will change the setting that you edit here for all the selected topics. The Font button shows the name of the font in use in the actual font face. If the font you're using is a theme font, then there's an extra line below with a little tick and a name for the theme font. If you're not using a theme font, then it will just show the name of the font. We recommend that you use the theme fonts wherever possible, since that allows you to easily update the look and feel of the mind map all in one go by changing the theme or font set, and all the fonts update appropriately. Before showing you how to select fonts, let's talk about fonts and font matching in NovaMind. When NovaMind opens a document or theme or font set, or has text pasted in from another application, it's possible that NovaMind may not have all of the required fonts available locally on your iPad. We deal with this in a number of ways. Firstly, in addition to the fonts that come as standard on the iPad, NovaMind includes some extra fonts in the application to extend the range to some of the most used fonts across different platforms. This means that we are more likely to be able to find an exact match immediately. Also, the first time you run NovaMind, it sets up a background download process which downloads some of the most commonly used fonts which are included in Microsoft software, so that if someone sends you a document created with those fonts, it will match them automatically. This process happens automatically in the background, and on a Wi-Fi connection it would only take a few seconds. These fonts are automatically added to the available fonts within the application. When you open a file, NovaMind will register all of the fonts that are used, and if it can't find a font amongst the fonts it already knows about, it will look for those fonts online. If you're offline at the time, NovaMind will prompt you like this. If you don't want to connect to the internet at that time, NovaMind will replace the fonts in your document with the most appropriate replacements it can find. However, if you are able to connect to the internet, it would be preferable to do so and see if the font can be found. If you are connected but only by a cellular connection, NovaMind will prompt you to confirm whether you want to use that connection, like this. If you choose the Replace option, it will not connect to the internet but will instead replace the fonts with the most appropriate replacements it can find. If you choose to continue, NovaMind will use your existing cellular network connection to check for available fonts. The process is not downloading huge files, so it's unlikely to be a problem, but we thought we should give you the options just in case you're on expensive roaming data services or something like that. Even on a mobile connection, the process should only take a few seconds. If you choose Retry, NovaMind will examine your network connections again and see if you now have a full internet connection. When NovaMind looks online for the font, if it finds it, NovaMind will also look for all the variants of the font and download them at the same time, and these will be available in NovaMind from then on. During the download process, NovaMind will show you a progress panel so you can see what's going on. If you have a particularly fast connection or are only downloading a single font, this panel may appear and disappear quite quickly. Once all the fonts are either matched, downloaded, or replaced, NovaMind will reload whatever views need to be reloaded in order to show them using the correct fonts. When NovaMind finds a font that's required in your document, it will be downloaded once and will always be available in NovaMind after that. If you use the document on another iPad, it would need to download the font there too. If you delete the underlying application data, NovaMind will find the font if it's still on your iPad, or if for some reason the font itself goes missing, NovaMind will be able to download it again. If NovaMind is unable to find the font locally or online, NovaMind will do its best to find a suitable replacement. If the document was created on Windows, there will be limited font information available, so NovaMind will start with either a fixed pitch or variable pitch font as appropriate and style it with whatever information is available. If the document was created in NovaMind for iPad or NovaMind for Mac, there will be more font information available, and NovaMind should be able to get a much closer match to the exact font used, so most of the traits of the font chosen should match the original. Font matching is not an exact science, so your documents may look slightly different with the replacement fonts, and you may want to go in and choose better fonts manually. Once NovaMind selects a replacement font, it's replaced in the document, including the maximum amount of information that we can glean about the font, so that when you open it on another computer, it has the best possibility of matching the font there or choosing the best possible replacement. Okay, so now that we have all of that out the way, let's look at the font selection process. When you tap the font button, NovaMind will show the font selection panel like this. There are three types of cell displayed. Firstly, theme fonts. These are displayed with their nominal title from the theme. They're always shown with their full font name. Note that although they are called title font, first level font, and so on, the theme may choose to use them differently. Note also that the font sets often have the same font face set for different fonts, but when they're used in the theme, they may use a different point size. The font selection here only selects the font face, not the size. The default font size for any topic is defined in the theme. The second kind of cell is font families. This is where there are multiple fonts in the same family. The family name is shown with the disclosure triangle next to it like this. When you tap on it, it will expand to show all the font faces within the family so that you can select the one that you want, like this. And the last type of cell is single fonts. Some fonts come in just a single typeface, so they're shown without a disclosure triangle and can be directly selected by tapping on that row. When the panel is displayed, it will be scrolled so that the selected font is visible, and if the selected font is part of a font family, that family will be expanded to show the faces. The selected font will have a check mark beside it. If you have multiple fonts in the selected topics or text, check marks will be shown beside all of them, but as soon as you select a different font, that font will be applied to all of the selected topics or selected text. There are three sections within the font selection panel. The first section is theme fonts. We recommend sticking to theme fonts wherever possible so that when you change the theme or font set, all the relevant text is updated automatically to the theme settings. Next is the recommended fonts. These are a few of the better and more commonly used fonts in the iPad and Mac world in particular, and are put in a separate section so that you can get to them quickly. Here are some of the reasons why particular fonts are used in the list of recommended fonts. Helvetica Neue is the most commonly used iOS font. Calibri is the default font used for Microsoft Word, and Cambria, Consolas, and Constantia are also distributed with Microsoft software and are automatically installed by NovaMind for your use within NovaMind, even if you don't have Microsoft software installed. Arial, Verdana, and Times New Roman are very commonly used on web browsers and across many operating systems. And the last section is all other fonts. As its name suggests, this displays all the rest of the fonts that are not in the recommended font list. Note that you may see the same font in the theme font section and one of the recommended fonts or all other fonts sections. Choosing the same font from the theme section or from another section are not the same. For instance, if your title font in the theme is currently Arial, choosing that says that you want to use the title font, which is defined by the font set, and may be something else in the future. But if you select Arial from one of the other sections, you're saying, I want this text to always be Arial no matter what font set is in use at the time. The fonts that are displayed in the panel include all the ones publicly available on your iPad, plus the extra Microsoft fonts we downloaded in the background for you, plus any additional fonts that have been downloaded to match fonts in the files that you have opened. These extra fonts are available in NovaMind, but may not be available in other applications due to Apple's sandboxing rules. When you select a font, NovaMind will look at the font that is selected and determine whether it is a bold or italic font face, and if possible, will choose the plain version of the font and automatically check the appropriate bold and italic settings. Okay, so now we have selected the font, we can adjust the rest of the settings. Tapping the bold or italic item will apply the required styling to the font. Note that although this may change the actual font displayed for theme fonts, it will still be using the theme font and will be updated appropriately when the font set changes. The size control allows you to increase or decrease the text size. Holding the plus or minus button causes it to repeat. You can also tap the size to edit it and type a new value. Normally, when you first add text, it uses automatic coloring. This means that if it's displayed on a dark background, the text will automatically be white, and if you're showing it on a light background, it will be black. We recommend that you stick with the automatic coloring unless you have a specific need for another color. The horizontal text alignment of the text applies to the selected paragraph or selected topics. So if you have multiple paragraphs of text, you can set the alignment for individual paragraphs. Of course, if your text fills the whole topic, then you're not going to see any visible difference if you change its alignment. So let's just change the size of the topic so that you can see the alignment options better. To resize the text area, tap the topic to select it, and tap it again over the text to select the text area. You'll see a resize box like this. Drag the resize handle to resize the text area of the topic. The topic will be resized accordingly. When you have resized the text, you'll see another control at the top like this. When you tap on that control, you'll see a menu like this. Tapping Reset Text Size will reset it to the default automatic size. If you have images on the topic which have been manually sized, there will be a menu option, Reset Text and Image Sizes, which will reset the sizes for all the images and the text on the topic to their default sizes. Now that we have the topic resized, let's go back to the alignment options. You can now see the effect of the horizontal alignment. The vertical text position sets the position within the topic where the text is placed. Again, if you have not resized the height of the topic, you won't see any difference when you change the setting, but if you've made the topic taller by either adding topic images on either side of the text or resizing the topic text area, you'll see that the text hugs the top or bottom of the space of the topic or is centered vertically depending on your setting. The underline and strike-through settings are pretty self-explanatory, and if you select an underline or strike-through, the relevant color becomes enabled so that you can set its color. The Draw Background option draws a colored background behind the text, and of course you can choose the color that you want. The Spacing option allows you to spread out or compress the text. And of course the Default Text button reverts the text to the settings as determined by the theme and font set. But before we finish with text, let's go back and talk about hyperlinks in the text. NovaMind has the ability to include hyperlinks either to websites or to other topics within the text itself. This is similar to having hyperlinks on the topic, but is actually applied to the text itself. In most cases, you would want to add hyperlinks to the topics, since that allows you to add multiple hyperlinks for a topic, and it's easier to see where they're going to take you. But for cases where you want hyperlinks in the text, we do support that too. To work with hyperlinks in text, start editing and select the range of text that you want the hyperlink in. The normal editing menu will appear with a hyperlink option shown. When you tap on this link, it shows you a popover like this. If there's already a hyperlink in the text that you selected, it will show the URL that you've already entered. If the hyperlink is to another mind map topic, it will show the topics with a check mark beside the topic that the link goes to. To link to a web page, for instance, you would type the entire web address, including http:// or https:// and the rest of the address, and then either tap Done or just tap off the popover. If you want to link to a topic within the document, choose the Mind Map Topic option, and it will show a list of topics like this. Each mind map in the document has a heading, and the topics which have subtopics under them have expanders to the left. Tap on the expander to expand that row. You can also see that any floating topics are also represented at the top level with a special icon. There's also a special icon to indicate callouts, so you can identify them easily. To create a link to a topic, tap on that topic. You'll see the check mark to the right of that topic turn blue, and then either tap Done or just tap off the callout. If there is a hyperlink that you want to remove, use the Remove Hyperlink option. To follow a hyperlink in the text, tap the topic to select the topic, and then press and hold the hyperlink. If it's a web link, then you'll be switched through to Safari where it will open the link, and if it's a topic hyperlink, then that topic will be selected and scrolled to be visible.